Back to another episode of What in the Ads is Going On. My name is Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal, and today I have a ton to pack into this session for you. So if you're catching this on the replay, first of all, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for making the time to be here. I appreciate it very, very much. And second of all, if you're catching this live, I am really excited for you because you get to ask all the questions while we're live. And today's session is going to be a very, very condensed Facebook Ads 101, the basics. I'm going to give you a breeze through. Basically, it's like a sample of what's going to happen in next week's bootcamp that kicks off on Tuesday. So the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp kicks off, and we cover 4 weeks of Facebook advertising basics, essentially. And whether you're brand new at Facebook Ads or whether you've been doing Facebook Ads for a long time, let me tell you, everything changes. Literally everything changes. It changes. It changes every month, which is why I rerun the boot camp once every 3 months. And if you've taken the boot camp before, you can keep taking it again and again and again because I keep you current and I keep you up to date and I keep you rolling with all the changes that Facebook Ads gives us. So my name is Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal. I have a fun little QR code here for you. If you haven't played this already, then if you're not watching this on mobile, pick up your mobile phone. Open your camera, hover that little camera over that QR code, and you'll be prompted to open Messenger. And that's just a fun little Facebook ads quiz called Truth or Trap to see how well you know Facebook ads from a beginner standpoint. So if you're going through that quiz, Truth or Trap, and you're running into a lot of snags, you're definitely going to want to pay attention to today's session. And if you want more of this lovely awesomeness, then you are definitely going to want to check out Swift Kick in the Ads. The boot camp again kicks off. We're 5 days away. I'm so excited. So you're going to want to check that out for sure, for sure. So play with that QR code. All right. What to expect right now, what we're going to dive into. Besides giving a shout out to, we've got UV here. You look beautiful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for making the time to be here, UV. I appreciate it. It's good to see you again. If you are catching this live, drop into the comments where you are tuning in from and anything. If you have anything that you are curious about Facebook ads, throw some questions in there and I'll see if I can make sure I address it while we're on this live stream. But in the meantime, let's break this down. All right, so Facebook advertising, when you're first starting out as a beginner, there are 4 different ways that I like you to look at Facebook ads, 4 different compartments that I like you to break it into. Number 1 is creating ads using Ads Manager. So we're getting off that boost button. We're not going to hit that boost button. If you are still hitting that boost button on your Facebook page to create promotions, it's okay. Trust me, I'm not here to give you a hard time over it. I'm here to inspire you and show you why there's a better reason to be moving off, weaning yourself off the boost button, getting into the heavier hitting, more robust tools that Facebook's Ads Manager has to offer you to see what we can do there. So getting you off that boost and getting you into Facebook Ads Manager without being intimidated, without being overwhelmed, and getting yourself the confidence to get in there and start creating ads. Just getting you started. So step 1, just getting you started creating ads, not overthinking it, not trying to get the campaigns just perfect, not trying to get your ad copy perfect, not trying to get your ad creative just perfect. Just get in and get you started creating Facebook ads using Facebook Ads Manager. That's section 1. Section 2, audiences and targeting. So it's one thing to create a very beautiful ad, wonderful, and get an ad campaign up and running, excellent. But if you don't know how to properly target the ideal audience or the different nuances of how you can leverage Facebook's targeting tools, then you're probably going to run into some snags with your campaigns and your content. So I teach you how to navigate through that. So we're going to take a brief look at that today. Then, so that's the second section, that if you are brand new at doing Facebook ads, you need to get a handle on audiences and targeting. Otherwise, you're going to run into some problems. The third out of 4 portions that I really want you to know when you're first starting out is budget and strategy. And this is probably one of the most important ones of all of them. Cannot stress that enough. Budget and strategy are the 2 things. They have to go hand in hand. They have to. If you have a budget that is way blown out of proportion and you're just running it with no strategy whatsoever, you're probably just spinning your wheels and wasting your money. Whereas on the flip side, if you have a budget that's way too teeny tiny and you're trying to just do the most robust strategy and trying to do it all and do what the guru said and do what all your competition is doing, you are not going to have enough budget to fulfill enough testing or enough creative to be able to properly execute on that. So budget and strategy, they gotta be like this. They gotta be tight. So we're gonna take a look at that. Then last but not least, so the fourth compartment is one thing that you've learned how to create ads. Another thing that you've learned how to do your audiences in targeting. Now we've matched your budget to a strategy, but then we run into one final snag. You've been running some ads, but how do you know if it's working? How do you know? Based on what Facebook is saying, because most people, when they first start out doing ads, they run some ads, Facebook says you've got some results, and you kind of go into Ads Manager and you look at the results and you're like, I don't understand this. Is that good? Is it not good? Is that many clicks good? What's a through play? What about engagement? What's normal? You have no idea what normal looks like or what normal looks like to you. Or on top of that, if Facebook is saying, hey, we got you 1,000 clicks on that campaign. You're like, oh, that sounds pretty good. 1,000 clicks. That looks pretty good. But then you go over to the actual thing you were sending traffic to and you're like, wait a second. I didn't get 1,000 hits to my website. So there's a problem here. Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, there's a lot more to a click that Facebook doesn't tell you. So I help you learn how to read the reporting so that you can optimize those campaigns so you can continually improve them. So you're not continuing to fall flat on your face and go, but Facebook is telling me I'm getting great results, but it's not working. So I help you understand, demystify, and learn how to read all the reporting in a very easy, straightforward way, what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to. So without further ado, why don't we jump in? I've got lots and lots of things to show you going on here. So the first thing we're going to start off with, and again, looking at this from a beginner standpoint, we are going to jump into the structure of a campaign. Now, you can download this. You can go to my website, thedigitalgal.com, and right from my website, you can download this Glossary of Ad Terms. It's very helpful for beginners, where it has all of these different terms that you need to know when you're running ads. A lot of people don't know the difference between reach versus impressions. Things like ad center versus lead center versus all those different things, and then the account structure. There's tons of info packed in here. You can download that for free on my website. But what I want to draw your attention to is this lovely little thing here, account structure. So before you get digging in and creating ads, it helps to understand how campaigns are structured. So the example that I like to give is pretend momentarily that this is like an organizational chart. Now, if you've heard me talk about Facebook ads in any capacity, you have probably heard this from me multiple times. So organizational structure, think of it like the campaign at the very, very top makes certain decisions compared to the ad sets that fall underneath it, compared to the ads underneath those. As an organizational structure would flow, imagine the campaign is like the CEO at the very top of the company. The CEO is making very, very company-wide directional decisions and massive decisions on what outcomes we are looking for. So the CEO is picking things like the objective of the entire campaign. So the campaign, what do we want to do with it? Are we trying to get more hits to our website? Are we trying to get more video views? Are we trying to get more leads? Are we trying to get more sales? There are lots of decisions that the CEO can make along the way, and that's the decisions that happen at the campaign level. Now, once you've made the decision on what the overall campaign is going to be achieving for you, then we have our ad sets, and those fall underneath the campaign. They're nested inside of a campaign, and you can have one ad set. You can have more than one ad set. You can have several. Now, each ad set imagine that being like managers. So you've got your CEO, and then delegated down underneath the CEO, you have multiple managers. And each of those managers run a different department. So if I want one of my ad sets to be targeting my website visitors, and a different ad set to be targeting a cold audience of people based on geography and interests, then those are two different departments. One's a warm audience, one's a cold audience, and they should be treated differently, but they can still pull from the same CEO and the same overall direction. So we get to make different decisions at the ad set level, mainly related to your targeting and your placement. And we can, depending on how you want to do it, we can choose your budget there as well. And then underneath that, we have our ads. And imagine your ads are like employees. They are the ones that are literally out there carrying out the work. They're doing the hard work. They're doing the job. They're out there face to face with the customers. They are trying to attract all that attention span. They are doing the heavy lifting. They are doing their best. They're showing up in multiple places and multiple placements. And those are the ads. They're feet on the ground doing all the hard work. And they don't make their own decisions. They are taking the directive from their ad set, aka the manager. And all your managers are taking an overarching direction from the CEO, aka the campaign. So that is how a campaign structure works. Now think about it this way. I'm going to pull my QR code down. That's to play truth or trap on Facebook Messenger if you want. Now think about it this way. When we're talking about getting you beyond that boost button, if you're just clicking that lovely little boost button from your Facebook page, that's okay. It's okay. I don't want to make you feel bad for it. I don't want to make you feel like you don't know what you're doing or that you're not doing enough. But it's the safe zone. It's definitely the safe place. So if we want to start moving you off of that boost button and moving you into Ads Manager, then we have more options, such as creating a deeper campaign structure so that we can target multiple different audiences with a campaign and see which audience performs better. Or we can have multiple different versions of an ad and see what creative is performing better for us. Change up the headlines, use dynamic ads, use offer ads, use lead ads. There's so many different things that we can do once we pop the hood on Ads Manager and start using Ads Manager instead of just boosting a post. Because when it comes to that organizational chart, that organizational structure, when you click the boost post button, it automatically in the background, whether you like it or not, creates a campaign, one ad set, and one ad underneath it. It's very linear. That's it. Just one string, one line. So there's not a lot of diversity in that. There's not a lot of testing or opportunity in that. So it's the easy way. It's the safe, what I call it, it's like keeping the bumper rails on, the guardrails on, so you can't mess it up. You can't fall off. Nothing's going to go wrong if you're hitting a boost post button. You're not going to screw it up. And in all honesty, when it comes to Facebook ads, and once you go into Ads Manager, you're also not really going to screw it up. You're going to be okay. It's a learning process. So the second part, if you're just starting out with Facebook ads, that I want to shift your mind into understanding is that it's not just go and set up an ad campaign, switch it on, spend all your budget, and then go look at the results and go, oh, that worked or it didn't work. No. All right. So when it comes to creating Facebook ads, I work with a lot of clients. And when I take on a new client, I set expectations right up front and say it's going to be a minimum of 3 months, or longer, depending on how much budget you have to spend, minimum of 3 months before we have a concept or an idea of how to move your Facebook ads forward into an area that's going to be successful for you. So a lot of things go in behind the scenes when you're first creating Facebook ads. It's not as simple as chuck some money on it, switch a campaign on, use one ad creative and like, woohoo, did it work? Nope. Yep, nope. It's generally going to be a hard no. You need to do some testing. We got to figure some things out along the way. First things first, month 1 is usually just starting to run some ads to some cold audiences of people who don't know you and using those ads to see what creative is working, see what headlines are working, see what things are clicking onto, see what your user experience looks like once they click on your ads. Where are we taking them off to? Are they hitting a website that's taking forever to load and you're getting 100% abandonment rate? There's all sorts of things behind the scenes that you don't need to be intimidated by as a brand new Facebook ads user, but we just need to manage those expectations that there's going to be incremental learning. You're going to need to start with a little bit of budget, throw it on a couple little campaigns and try some things, but just don't put the whole weight on your shoulders of the stress of trying to make a successful ad campaign on your first couple goes. It's likely not to happen. The first few ad campaigns you run are strictly going to give you some feedback and information on what's working, what's not. It's like flashing a flashlight in a dark cave. We can flash that flashlight and see, oh, okay, this is where we're going to go. But if we didn't try that to begin with and we just went right into the cave without any light at all, we'd be lost. So it takes a little bit of experimenting to get comfortable with what direction you need to go with your Facebook ads, and that takes time or spend. The more spend you have, the less time it takes, because the more campaigns we can run, the more things we can test at one time. And when I say test, I'm talking I want to test a few different audiences and see which audience is responding better for you. I want to test a couple different ad creatives. When I say creative, we're talking the images or videos that you're using. I want to test a few variations of that and see which one's pulling better for you. I want to look at your reporting and I want to understand, is Facebook heavy delivering all your ads over into the audience network, where people are clicking on ads and they're not really, they're accidentally clicking because they're trying to get a pop-up to go away? Or were they highly interested in your ad and it's heavy delivering in the mobile newsfeed? So there's lots of tweaking in the first month or two of running campaigns before you really, really start to understand your baseline and how well your content is performing and whether it's working or not. you start to learn it pretty quick. So let's jump in. Let's go take a look at what it looks like when you go to create an ad using Ads Manager. So inside here, this is Ads Manager. This is a blank one. This is for small dog. Yes, I have an ad account for my dog, because why not? So when instead of boosting a post from your Facebook page, and we go, by the way, in the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp, we go insanely in depth into this. And the first week where we learn about Ads Manager kicks off this coming Tuesday. So if you haven't had the opportunity to sign up for Swift Kick in the Ads, you're going to want to, because we go way deep into this. All right, first things first, when we go to create an ad, we hit that big, lovely create button, and we have some choices to make right up front. Those choices, this is our CEO level. Our top of the company, the campaign level has to decide what direction are we taking this entire campaign? What are we trying to achieve? Do we want traffic to our website? Do we want video views on our video? Do we want to generate leads and get people's names and email addresses? Do we want them to send messages to our page? And FYI, if you're using messenger marketing chatbots, this is a handy one. Are we looking to just reach new people or get brand awareness? Hot tip, I'm going to probably steer you away from these. They're very low cost. Probably keep you in this territory over here. Or if we want things like conversions, which are, hey, I want somebody to go to my website and add to cart, or initiate checkout, or make a purchase. Those are conversions. Now, heads up, not all of these cost the same. Some of them are more cheap and cheerful. Some of them are a little more expensive. Gotta pause here and give a giant shout out to Johnny. Johnny, he is like consistently making it to all these live streams. Want to give you like a giant high five. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I always get excited when I see your face pop in here. So our CEO decisions, the costs will depend, they go up depending on how much we're asking the user to do. So if I want somebody to stay on Facebook's platform and not leave Facebook's environment, it's generally not going to cost me as much money as if I want them to leave the website and go to my website, or leave Facebook and go to my website, it's going to cost me a little bit more. And if I want them to go to my website and make a purchase, you're sure Facebook is going to take their cut. I mean, they got to make some money anyway. Anyhow, so let's just choose traffic for an example. Then we have the option of creating a campaign name. This is my test campaign. And then our ad set, we can give that a name. And then our ad. And of course, just when I'm training, I put the word test in everything because I need to remember to delete it later. All right, this is what it looks like when you go to create an ad using Ads Manager. I'm not going to walk you through all of these sections because this is what we go in depth into in the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp. I walk you through all of these choices. What do they mean? Which ones can you ignore? Which ones do you need? This is the campaign level. We have decisions here at the campaign level. And then we can either hit next or click here or navigate up here and we get to the ad set. And again, at the ad set, we have a whole bunch of other decisions, such as we have decisions based on your targeting and your placement. So I can scroll down here. We do have budget. We can either do the budget here or at the campaign level. I can choose my targeting. I can go in here and I can choose existing audiences that we already have built. Or I can go in here and I can edit my locations. And I can drop pins on the map or enter a postal code. Let's go K0M. Yes, I'm in Canada. FYI. So I can target a particular postal code, there it is, or I can drop a pin on the map, and depending on what I'm doing and what combination, it's going to influence the size of my audience and who I can target. And I can increase the radius on this, and let's go all the way up to 50 miles. And then you can see how our audience size is increasing. We can add some demographic information and details. So let's go Facebook page admins. And this takes a little while to load, by the way. There it is. See? It just takes a second. So it makes it look like, oh, there's no options, but there are. But wait, there are. And so on and so forth. So then as we cruise on down, we can also choose our placements. And in the bootcamp, I walk you through which choices you should be paying attention to, which ones we can avoid, where you're going to get trapped, where Facebook is going to spend your budget where you don't want it to, all sorts of little things. Then we have choices like, are we going to optimize it for landing page views or link clicks or impressions? I help you navigate through all those decisions. And then we get to the ad level where we get to create an ad. So in here, we get to make some choices. So I can go the digital gal for my page. And then I can do a single image or video. I can do a carousel. I can use a collection if I have a shopping catalog attached. I can add video, add image. There's lots of options in here. Add my primary text. Here's a heads up. If you are brand new and you want to take away one tip out of this, when you go to create your ad, your primary text and description, two totally different areas. Your primary text, that's the main text. That's where you want to put the bulk of your, hey, this is what this ad is about. Here's what I'm trying to sell you or tell you or talk to you about. That's what goes in the primary text. Your description, you can just throw it out the window. Forget about it. You don't need it. Forget about it. It barely shows up in any of the ad placements at all. And it's just basically a little tiny descriptor, like a little one-liner that sometimes shows up underneath the URL in the headline. You don't need it. Okay? All right. So that's a brief overview of what's in the guts, what's in behind the scenes of Ads Manager. If any of this is resonating with you, if this is making you go, ooh, I want to learn how to do that, sign up for the bootcamp for Swift Kick in the Ads. It's kicking off Tuesday. In week 1, we spend the entire time learning how to go through all of this, what choices to make, which ones to avoid, and how to set all that up. So then I mentioned that creating ads using Ads Manager, really important step 1, right? Good. All right, we learned how to do that. Then audiences and targeting. So a lot of people ask me right out of the gate, they're like, how do I do retargeting? How does retargeting work? So there's there's lots of sides to Facebook targeting, but we have what I like to call warm audiences and cold audiences. A cold audience of people, they don't like you yet. It's because they don't know you. They haven't met you. They haven't seen your content. They have no idea you even exist, whatever. They haven't been exposed to you whatsoever. You are dead to them. That's a little traumatic, but they don't know you yet. So that's a cold audience of people. That's typically going to be people that we're going to target with demographics. We're going to drop that pin on the map or go after a zip code or postal code or type in cities or type in countries. And then we're going to add in some additional targeting on top of that by different additional behaviors and interest targeting. So people who are interested in rugby or people who are interested in the Toronto Blue Jays or people who are interested in hiking. I don't know. And by the way, for the record, if you do take any training with me, you'll learn that I tend to throw out the worst examples ever. Like really. Anyway, I come up with the craziest things that just don't make sense. Anywho, I'm much better at analytics and algorithms than coming up with really good examples on the fly. So we've got cold audiences of people, they don't know you, and we need to reach them with what we call our first impression content. So let's make that first impression. Let's give them a reason to be interested. But wait, at the same time, we also want the content that we're leading our best foot forward with to deter the people that are not the right fit for us. We really, really want to put out the right vibe and show people that if this is not the right fit for you, just keep on scrolling, keep on going. Because the more people pay attention to you, the more they interact with you, the more they engage with you, they move over onto our warmer audiences. And when people become part of our warmer audiences, there's more familiarity, and we want to retarget those people. So if the content we're putting out there isn't representative of what we're offering or selling or ultimately how we're going to do business with somebody, it's probably not worth putting out as your first impression content because we don't want to attract the wrong people. For example, I am really heavy into, yes, I like the pink and the glitz and the glam and the high heels and all this fun jazz, and this is not actually my real house. I wish it was green screen. But by day, I am the digital gal, and this is what I do. By weekend, I like to go off-grid camping, and there's no makeup involved. I generally don't have cell service wherever I'm going, and I don't look anything like this. So that's a different side of me, but I still put out some of that content on my Instagram that's connected to my Facebook. So there's different content that I do or have that is not this. But I got to be careful that content, that's after, once you're a warm audience and once you get to know me, then you can get to know that side of me. That's fine. But if I'm trying to lead with my best foot forward, I want to make sure this kind of content is what I'm putting out there to the cold audience to make that first impression, because I don't want to attract a crowd of people who are into ultralight camping off grid and have zero interest in Facebook ads whatsoever. So you got to be careful with your content when you're leading with that best foot forward of what you're attracting your cold audiences in with to warm them up so that we can retarget. All right, that part of the pep talk done. Let's go look at audiences and how to create some of those. And again, if you're just jumping on and joining us now, you're getting a Facebook Ads 101, sort of the breeze over of the 4 areas that are really, really important if you're just starting out with Facebook ads. If you don't have a handle on one of these 4, then you are probably not going to feel successful with your ads very quickly. You're going to stumble and fall a long way before you get it all figured out. And those 4 pieces are creating ads using Ads Manager, not boosting that post. Your audiences and targeting, learning how to create those audiences and then use them in your targeting. Number 3 is your budget and strategy. If your budget is way off base to a matching strategy, then nothing's going to work. If you have too big of a budget and no strategy, you're wasting your money. If you have too small of a budget and too robust a strategy, then your budget isn't going to be enough to support the whole thing. So we got to match those. And then the last part is reporting and optimizing, learning how to read the reports, digging a little bit deeper under the hood to see what's actually working and what's not. So let's take a look at how to create some audiences. All right. So I'm going to dive in and share screen here. Now, if you want to know how to navigate into all these areas, Ads Manager, the audiences, all of that, this lovely little All Tools menu is everything you need. You'll find it all throughout the back end of Facebook's ads. You can go to business.facebook.com. If you go to business.facebook.com, that brings you into the business side of Facebook, and then you will be able to find this All Tools menu poking around through all the different places. So the different areas we've just taken a look at, Ads Manager was the first one. Audiences is now the second one we're going to look at. This is what the audiences look like. When we go to create audiences, there are a few different kinds of audiences we can create. If I use this drop-down menu, I can see I can create a custom audience, a lookalike audience, special ad audience. We're just going to park that for now. I have an entire YouTube video on special ad categories that address all of this. And not all of you will fall into that. Unless you're in real estate, then we got to talk. Then I've got a course for you anyway. And then saved audiences. So the main focus that we're going to look at, custom audiences and saved audiences. If I click on a saved audience, it's going to look a little familiar to what we see when we're creating an ad using Ads Manager. This is where we can give this audience a name, test, and then where we can choose our geographic area. Maybe I want United States in here too. And again, wait for it. There it is. And then from here, I can change my age range. And I can choose my gender, language. There we are. And then we get into the detailed targeting. So that's where I can say people who are interested in, let's go dog training. Let's see what comes up with that. And again, just thinking of this off the top of my head. Dog training, interest, heads up. We have in this interest, we have 50,000 people. I know it's probably really tiny for you to see on your screen, but it shows me that I have 50 million, 50 million people who are interested in this. So you can see on the right-hand side, just to the right of my mouse, the size of this audience, if I chose people who are interested in dog training, is 50 million. But if I click on it, then I scroll up to the top and I look at my potential audience size at the top right here, it's not 50 million, that's only 12 million. Why? Well, it's 50 million across all of Facebook who are interested in dog training. But I've now said, but wait, Facebook, only look at Canada and the United States, and only look at people 30 plus, and only look at English-speaking people who have an interest in dog training. So it narrows the audience size. Then I can also go, let's scroll down a little bit more and say, okay, dog training, and let's narrow that audience and say, and must also match an interest in, let's say, dog grooming. Dog grooming. I go after fields of study. Watch out for that. There's fields of study, employers, interests, and sometimes you'll see behaviors in here too. So depending on what you're choosing, it will greatly influence the success of your targeting. So I don't want to go after people who have studied dog grooming. I don't want to go after people who employ dog groomers. I want to go after people who have a generalized interest in dog grooming altogether. And again, that audience size is 19 million. Let's click on it. So now what we're saying is I want to go after people who are interested in dog training and must also match an interest in dog grooming. And if I scroll up here, that's an audience of 3.4 million people. So we're starting to narrow it down. So that's an example of how you can do that. I can save that audience and then I can pull that into an ad at a later date. Now, I'm going to show you a custom audience. Before I do that though, I just want to address the questions coming from UV. UV saying, please tell me how to target jewelry customer. And you're begging me to talk to you for 10 to 20 minutes. Can you just talk to me? You can sign up for Swift Kick in the Ads and take the full program. That's one way. Or taking moments like this where you're going over all the content, there's tons and tons of free content on YouTube, tons. You could, if you wanted to, just heads up to everybody watching this. Technically, if you didn't want to sign up for Swift Kick in the Ads, or you didn't want to take a Facebook Ads 4-week bootcamp, everything I'm showing you, I do break down in all of those YouTube videos that you'll find on my YouTube channel at The Digital Gal. You can dig through and you can find it in there, but that's definitely the best place to start. So now let's look at creating a custom audience. So in here, let's go create audience, custom audience. So inside of custom audience, this is where we do our retargeting. Retargeting is where we're trying to reach people that we've either already reached in one way or another, or we already have some data on. So a custom audience, we have different options here. For example, we can create an audience of people who have been to our website. Now you need to have your Facebook pixel installed for that. And I just posted on Facebook right here. This is on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thedigitalgal. There's that video right there on how to install your Facebook pixel. You can also see our live video happening now. So that's an easy access thing right there if you haven't installed your Facebook pixel, because you need your Facebook pixel on your website if you want to create an audience of people who have visited your website. So we can do that. We can upload a customer list of emails. Now heads up, another little pitfall. If you don't have an ad account set up in Business Manager or through Business Suite, basically an ad account that's on the business side of Facebook, not just the personal side. And yes, there's two different sides of Facebook where you can have an ad account living. If you don't have an ad account set up inside your Business Manager, then you will not be authorized to use the customer list feature. And that's uploading your email list of customers to retarget them. It's an extremely valuable feature, really powerful audience. We can create an audience of people who have viewed your videos for any length of time. Whether that be, let's go and look at that one. So if I click next, I can choose anyone who's watched 3 seconds or more, 10 seconds or more, at least 15 seconds or more, up to 25% completion, 50% completion, 75%, or up to 95% completion of a single video that I choose, or of multiple videos. And if I choose multiple videos, it's them taking an action on any one of those videos, not having to take that action on all of those videos. So I would suggest when you're first starting out, 3 seconds might seem like nothing. Might seem like, oh, no one is interested at that rate. And yes, you're right. It's an extremely passive metric on somebody's interest in your videos. But when you're first starting out, first building an audience size, you got to start somewhere, and you'd be surprised trying to get anybody to watch past 6 seconds of your videos on Facebook is a big deal. It's actually a big deal. So you will have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that your content reaches. But of those thousands, the number of people who are actually making it to the 6-second mark is significant. And then once we get up to the 10-second mark, there is a massive drop-off, usually about a double drop-off. So if you reached 100,000 people who watched 3 seconds, you're probably only going to have 50,000 of them who made it to 10 seconds. And then it's going to drop in half again when we get to the 15 seconds. Only 25,000 will have made it to 15 seconds. And then it usually drops off by half. So you can see how by the time we whittle ourselves all the way down to people watching 95% completion of your videos, it's a very, very, very small and or non-existent audience if you're just starting out. So we got to start somewhere, just incrementally. We're going to work our way up. And you can create an audience of people who have watched your videos. Now, I'm not going to show you the rest of that in depth. We do go deep into that in week 2 of the 4-week Facebook Ads Bootcamp. We can also create audiences of people right here who have engaged with your Instagram account. And again, that has to be a business Instagram. It has to be connected to your Facebook page, but it's a fantastic resource. For those of you who are watching this are like, I'm not super into Facebook advertising, but I do a lot on Instagram. This is super relevant for you. Super relevant because that's how we create ads for Instagram, is using Ads Manager on the Facebook side. So whether you're doing Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising, the bootcamp is highly relevant for you. And then there's the Facebook page. You can create an audience of people who have engaged with your Facebook page. And again, these two areas look extremely similar. So I can go ahead and create that audience. And we have some options here. Let's go the digital gal. I can target or retarget anybody who currently likes or follows my page, anyone who has engaged with my page, and that is a like, a click, a comment, or a share. Those all count toward engagements. Anyone who has actually visited my page, so they don't even have to like it. They don't even have to follow it. If they visited my page, if they were scoping me out for whatever reason, I can retarget them. I can go after people who engaged with any post or ad. Now, I cannot choose the particular post, and this is another pitfall people fall into. They're like, well, why can't I retarget someone who saw just this one ad from this one campaign? You can't do that with an engagement audience. You can, however, do that with a video view audience. So I can retarget people who watched a specific video, but I cannot retarget people who looked at a specific post or engaged with a specific post. People who clicked on any call to action button, people who sent a message to your page. Hey, chatbot builders, we're talking to you. We're talking to you right now. So I have thousands of messages that get sent to my page, but that's because I use messenger marketing chatbots that encourage those messages. Now I can retarget those people because they engaged with my page specifically by sending a message. And then if somebody saved my page or any post, so if you have helpful information that's floating around out there and somebody saves that post for later, that's an important metric, and I can retarget based on that. So that's a lot of the options that you see in there. So I'm breezing us through. So that's part 1, part 2. We've looked at creating ads using Ads Manager. Again, all of this is a brief 101 overview of what you need to know if you're just starting out using Facebook advertising, or if you've been thinking about getting into Facebook advertising, to realistically manage your expectations on what it takes to have some successful ad campaigns. Number 1, we're getting you off that boost button using Ads Manager. Number 2, we're using audiences and targeting, and we're learning how to find your ideal audience. There's also audience research that goes into that, and I've got some tools for you on that as well, and how to use multiple different types of targeting instead of doing the same thing over and over and it not working. And then step 3, let's get into this one: budget and strategy. Now, I know I stressed it at the beginning. I'm going to stress it again and again and again and again. Your budget has to match the strategy. So you can't be looking at your neighbor or at your competitor and at everybody else around you and go, ooh, I really like what they're doing. I want to do what they're doing. And then show up to the table with $200 and be like, okay, let's go make some ads. No, it's not going to work that way. We need to set realistic expectations with your budget. So if you don't have, and when we're talking about how much budget is too much, not enough, it's going to depend on the business and what we're trying to do. If you're trying to sell a $5,000 course, then you better be showing up with more than $5,000 in ad spend to achieve making one sale. If you're selling a $3 widget, then yeah, you can run with a $200 budget and we can make some different things work. So it's going to be a sliding moving scale. So let's take a look at a resource that I have for you. And again, the resource I'm about to show you is hypothetical. It's a guideline or it's an inspiration only. Don't take this black and white. Don't go make a budget off of these exact numbers, okay? Please. But I want to get you thinking. Remember how we talked about cold audiences and warm audiences? And there's also hot audiences, people who you know are ready to buy. They are ready to buy. You just need to ask them. So let's talk about how this works. I've just got this baked in here so I can go, okay, well, if I had $5,000 a month to spend, all right, that's going to update all my numbers and roll the budget out a little differently. If I had $500 to spend, oops, that's still 5,000. Let's go back up. I can do math. 500. There we go. See how it drops the numbers and it spreads it a little bit thin. So let's just throw in $1,000 a month and see what that number does. All right, so let's say if I had $1,000 a month to work with. Here are some hypothetical ways that I could be breaking this down into reaching a cold audience of brand new people who don't know me, then also retargeting my warm audience of people who are now familiar with me and want more of my content, and how I might break some budget up against my hot audiences who are like at the take my money stage. So at the take my money stage, when I'm first starting out, I don't have a huge audience size to work with. So if I rebalance this, if I flip this budget and said, well, I'm going to maybe spend $100 on new people because they don't know me yet, and I'll still spend $300 on the people who do know me, but then I'm going to spend $600 on my hot audience who are ready to buy. Well, when I'm just starting out, I don't have the audience size or the depth of audience to achieve that. So inevitably what's going to happen is I'm going to go out, budget ablazing, and I'm going to oversaturate my my warm audience of people who are ready to buy from me. Imagine if I did all this work. I'm going to pull this up for a second. Imagine me doing all this work, building out these campaigns and doing all this hard work and trying to build an audience of people who are like, yeah, we like your content. But imagine if there was only 100 of you. So imagine I'm doing all this and there's only 100 of you sitting that are ready to buy from me. And I go out with my ads and I take $600 and I run $600 on ads, hammering just the 100 of you. And I'm hitting you everywhere, and I'm hitting you with, 7 impressions of one ad and another 12 impressions of another ad. And I'm just hammering you with all of these ads, and I'm not changing up the creative, and you're getting hit with it all over the place, and you're getting sick and tired of it. The first thing you're going to do is hit on hide ads or hide all ads, because you're just going to be sick of it. And what does that do for me as an advertiser? It puts a giant black streak on my reputation as an advertiser. So if you are watching this, please don't do that, because that would suck. But what it does, and FYI, as an advertiser, it's inevitable you're going to have people do that on every single ad, no matter what. You're not going to have a perfect, pristine, clean record. But if you have a high volume of people who are saying hide ads and hide all ads and I don't want this, it's too much, then Facebook charges you more money to circulate your ads, or just stop circulating them to your ideal audience altogether. So your hot audience of people, we are going to give them a giant hug. We're going to protect that audience. We are going to not oversaturate them with too high of a budget to too small of an audience. And that's where we need to learn how to balance our budget with a strategy. And that's why if we're going to be doing Facebook ads, we do need to be spending a monthly ad spend. I personally spend roughly about $1,000 a month. And my clients usually spend roughly anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 a month, and it varies. I don't really work with e-commerce. I have friends who can manage, tens of thousands of dollars in ad spend every single month. The strategy that I'm giving to my clients, for those spends, and $1,000 a month, is going to be vastly different than the strategy that one of my peers who is managing $35,000 a month would be rolling out. Those budgets and the strategies have to match. So if I go back in here, I have some other examples for you. Say I had a really nice established budget. There we go. Let's go with this. Say I had $5,000 to spend. I could easily split that $5,000 out among my cold audiences on Facebook only and treat Facebook completely separate from Instagram. And then I could go out to Instagram and target Instagram only. And then underneath that, I can support testing of a whole bunch of different ad sets, targeting a whole bunch of different segments of audiences. I could use a lookalike audience of website visitors, a lookalike audience of email subscribers, dropping a pin or doing a geographical area around a particular spot, or use my interests and behaviors detailed targeting, and then test all of those different ad sets with their own budget to see which one is pulling better results. And I can also do the same thing over on Instagram and handle them separately. Now, if I only had $500 to work with, that's really not going to be enough budget to supply those ad sets. It's not going to be enough budget to supply those ad sets for us to get any results of statistical significance to make a good decision one way or another of, hey, did that campaign work? Did it not work? And when we need to know how much volume do we need on an ad before we can make a decision, you're aiming for a ballpark of 500 impressions. You want that ad to have been served out at least 500 times before you start making some budget decisions in the background on it. So you can see how if you are trying to do too robust of a strategy on too thin of a budget, we don't have enough data hitting all the different ad sets and ads to be able to say this worked or didn't work. And then you start making some crazy wild choices without having enough data, and then you might as well have just taken your budget and blown it into the Facebook wind and let Facebook deal with it anyway. So you can see how matching up the strategy with the budget is quite important. And then we're going to move ourselves over into reporting and optimizing. So let's hop back over into Ads Manager. I'm just pulling it up on my screen here before I hit screen share. And I'm going to pull up the Digital Gals ad account, and we're going to go take a look over there. So let's go. I'm going to pull one up for you. I'm trying to find a good one that I can pull up. Let's go. Let's expand this out. So I'm in the background. I'm not sharing my screen quite yet. All right, here's one for you. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to put me down here. First and foremost, so when we're looking at some results inside Ads Manager, we are usually on the default column. When you first log in, it's going to look a little like this. And then as we scroll across, we have a whole bunch of numbers. How do we know what's good? How do we know what's not good? And then from here, we also have our campaigns, our ad sets, and our ads tab that we can navigate among. So then from here, we can break down the information in different ways. So in this case, it's telling me my results. I had over 2,000 through plays. What is a through play? A through play is a 15-second play, or if the video is shorter than 15 seconds, then a play to completion. It's probably one of the most misleading labels that you can give. They should just call it a 15-second play. It would be so much better. But anyway, and then we can see the number of impressions that we had. The number of impressions here, we had 35,000 impressions. How many people did we reach? So the ad was served out 35,000 times. How many people did we reach? 5,000. So that's pretty crazy because that gives us a pretty wicked high frequency, right? So let me see if I can customize these columns. I can go down here, customize, and I can add in frequency in here. And you don't really need to know all of this. I'm just showing you an example of frequency. Let's add that in. Let's drag that up. Let's hit apply. So that's a frequency of 6.26 times per person. That's extraordinarily high for a video view. Extraordinarily. If I saw that in somebody's ad account, I would go, hold up, wait a second. What are we doing here? Let's diagnose this. What's going wrong? But let's take this one step further. If I click inside this, I have multiple different ads in here. And if I look at my frequency over on the right-hand side, you can see it tells a whole different story. That I'm reaching people generally less than 3 times each. And when the same people, roughly 3 times each. So when we take that into account, that means I might be showing up in their mobile newsfeed, right? Then I also might be showing up in their Instagram stories. And then I also might be showing up in Facebook Marketplace. There are lots of different ad placements and places that your ad can have impressions, or people can see your ads and have multiple impressions. So there's a story to be told, and if we are making budget and spending decisions based on the result of our ads, but we don't know how to read the results properly, then we're essentially running blind anyway. So it can be, I know it sounds all this, everything I'm throwing everything out there just to kind of give you the lay of the land on all the different components that you will need to get a handle on in order to be able to run ads successfully for yourself. It seems like a lot, but the cool thing of how this typically works is I get people into the bootcamp. I run the bootcamp. The bootcamp is live training. It's just like I'm doing right now. Pretty much exactly like what I'm doing right now. I'm on live video, do my screen shares, chat back and forth with you. I run you through each of those 4 components across 4 weeks. And throughout that, it's probably information overload. So if you're just starting out with Facebook ads and you take the bootcamp and even if you watched all 4 of those trainings and you were there through the whole month, asking questions, being present and trying your own ads, it's a lot of information. It's a little overwhelming. And by the way, the replays are always available immediately after. So you don't have to watch them live. You don't have to be there for all of it. Now, where the real magic starts to happen is usually people will watch the very first one. They learn how to create an ad using Ads Manager. Okay, thank you very much. Off they go. They make an ad campaign, and I don't see them for 6 weeks. Perfectly fine. But then what happens is as they're trying to run these campaigns, they run into a little snag or a little hurdle or a little problem. Well, they've got the replays available for them. So they'll go back and watch a couple of the replays, little segments and sections, and try and like figure out, okay, I don't want to watch the whole thing. I just want to know this. And they'll go and watch that little section. Great. Figure it out and incrementally move forward. Well, I rerun the boot camp every 3 months. And the cool part about this is that there are so many of you who are already in the boot camp who retake it every time I rerun it, because now you've had time to go and actually practice. And now you've had time to go and implement trying to run your own ads. And now you know where your own unique particular hurdles and snags are. So now you've got some questions and I can help answer those questions. And now the next video that you're watching makes even more sense. You're like, aha, that's what I needed. That's how I can move forward into the next stage. And that's how I can make an improvement. And so generally people who are in the boot camp, once you're in the boot camp, you're in it for life. Swift Kicking the Ads, you get into the boot camp through the membership. You become a member. I include that boot camp for free. If you ever leave the membership and cancel, you can stay in the boot camp for as long as you want. We're good. But you lose all the other benefits and all the other cool stuff. So by being in the boot camp, you can retake it anytime you want, as much as you want, and I rerun it every 3 months to keep everybody current because Facebook changes so much. So 3 months ago, if you were learning Ads Manager and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I got to get this ad campaign up and running and figure this out, and you get back in there and you're like, whoa, hold up. Every menu screen is different. What the heck is this business suite business that we're looking at? What menu do I go into? You get frustrated. That's okay. That's why the bootcamp reruns every 3 months, to keep you current and help you navigate through all those little hiccups and all those little challenges. So you're not off on your own. I got you. I've got your back. So what does that look like? Let's head on over to, by the way, so let me pull this up. So that looks like this, swiftkickingtheads.com. That's where you can go. That's where you can sign up for the bootcamp. But the cool thing is, so there's the bootcamp, but there's also the membership. And inside that membership, you've got more courses and more information that you have access to. For example, so we've got an entire course on Business Manager. So if you're not sure how to set up your business properly and give people permission and on all of that fun stuff, there's an entire course on Business Manager that's included in here where you can go through and learn how to set up your business manager properly. That's included. There's also an entire Facebook ads workshop for real estate in there, the Facebook ads bootcamp replays, and this is the magical one, the Swift Kicking the Ads membership replays. Check this out. This is a quick preview of the replay table of contents. So we have all these different replays in here on Facebook advertising that are available to you. Messenger marketing chatbots, Facebook Business Manager and Business Suite, Google, setting up Google ads, Google Analytics, Instagram ads, and then all the topics for all the different live shows. And we're working through all the transcripts and all of that. All of that is included with a $49 a month membership into Swift Kicking the Ads, where you can learn how to create your own ads from the ground up. And you're being handheld along the way with live video training and somebody who actually is passionate and cares about you learning how to run Facebook ads. So it's not just a giant pre-recorded, here's a giant pre-recorded course, go watch it at your own leisure, and if you get stuck, good luck. No, it's we bring you along the way. And for Swift Kicking the Ads members, we also have Monday morning office hours. We've got a good crew of people in the membership. It's a small crew of people, and I love the Monday morning office hours because that's where members show up with actual real snags and problems. They're like, okay, so I tried running this ad. Here's the problem I ran into. How do we get over it? And then we work through it together on a Zoom screen share. There's usually just a small number of people who are attending, so we can all help each other out. And then there's usually enough time for everybody to ask all of their questions, and we work through it together. And members are learning and growing their Facebook ads knowledge exponentially by essentially getting to do what I do, which is I sit on a lot of consulting calls where I get on a Zoom screen share with somebody and I help diagnose their problem and help resolve it for them fairly quickly. Now, when we're doing that as in the membership, you get exposed to so many more things that other people are experiencing in real time, all the different hurdles that they're running into. So you can learn and grow with that membership quite quickly. All right, so with all of that said, I want to encourage you, head on over to swiftkickingtheads.com. That's where you can sign up for the Facebook Ads Bootcamp. It kicks off this Tuesday on August 10th. So I will be there with a big smile on my face and a big pot of coffee, and I will be teaching you how to create ads using Ads Manager from the ground up in that week 1 training. And I would really, really love to see you there. And now, so if you found this information helpful, this miniature snapshot of the 4 components that you need if you're starting out with Facebook ads, learning how to do Facebook ads for yourself. If you found this helpful, I would love for you to share this or tag somebody in it that you think would benefit from it. You don't have to go and take the bootcamp. You don't have to go become a member. This can be a helpful little snapshot of like, hey, here's your little blueprint. Here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to go focus on. And there's a ton of free content over on my YouTube channel on how to do all of this stuff if you want to go dig through that, or just have some fun. Come join us in the bootcamp. Sign up for Swift Kicking the Ads. Whew. All right. Yikes. That's a lot of content that I covered. And usually our bootcamp sessions are an hour and a half long because we go really in depth. So if you want to check that out, go for it. Come join us. Come have some fun. I want to give a giant shout out to Restream. Restream is sponsoring the What in the Ads is Going On show. And Restream is the reason that I'm able to be present on multiple different platforms all at once. That's why we've got comments coming in from YouTube, comments coming in from Facebook. I'm in different Facebook groups. I'm on different YouTube channels. I'm in multiple places at once. Because of the power of Restream. And if you really want to see Restream shine, then join me tomorrow on the Video Marketing Show. And tomorrow, I broadcast right from within Restream's studio, and it's so user-friendly. It's a browser-based studio. You can access it. If you have no live streaming experience whatsoever, you will have no problem inside Restream's very easy-to-use studio. And you can check all of that out at thedigitalgal.com/Restream. That's going to be, you can use that link and sign up for a 7-day pro trial and get your hands dirty with live streaming, because this is what I call the fast track to getting your content served out by Facebook. If you're not using live streaming or video content in your marketing, then you are basically at the back of the line, waiting till the rest of us get out of the way, and we're not getting out of the way because we're going to keep live streaming and we're going to keep using video content. So anyway, join me tomorrow over on the Video Marketing Show happening at 1:00 p.m. Pacific. Again, on pretty much every channel you can possibly think of related to The Digital Gal. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, everywhere at The Digital Gal. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you giving me your time. Again, if you are watching this on the replay and you have made it to this point, drop that in the comments because I want to know. And I just want to give you a huge congratulations. All right, everybody, go forth. Have a fantastic week. Hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's live stream. I am Amanda Robinson. I am the Digital Gal, and I really hope you can join me for getting a swift kick in the ads with the upcoming Facebook Ads Bootcamp happening this coming week. Thanks, everybody.